Now, after we have talked about these two options here in the particle fluid tab, we're going to create something interesting for us as beginners in the fluid simulations. First thing, we will just create this flip tank. Control click on the flip tank in order to create it in the origin. Then we have now our nodes here, our set of nodes. Oh my god, this is too stupid. We have our flip tank initial, where we have our ocean source node, which creates this pool of particles. We have our auto-dop network, where we just simulate these particles that we import from the fluid tank initial. Then we have our flip tank, which imports our flip tank fluid here, which imports our fluid simulation from the dop network into our SOP network. So this is our import flip tank node, and we will just create those things from scratch, and you will get comfortable with those options here and those nodes later. So now here in the Autodop network, we have this flip object, we have a flip solver, and let's talk about those things in detail. We'll just go to our geometry spreadsheet here, and as you can see, there is a flip tank object here. This flip tank object is just the place you store the data of your simulation. So here you store your collision data, your velocity data, viscosity, and all of those data are just fields, which is a kind of storage or a kind of data type. Houdini uses fields to just store the data it will use to simulate things. So this velocity field, for example, will be used by this flip solver, and this flip solver will solve for the velocity and the surface, the viscosity of the water, and this will create our simulation. The flip solver here solves a very complex sets of equations which simulates water. Okay, and we have our gravity node, and surely you will create those from scratch in the next video, and this will be just more apparent and more clear. Okay, so if we just create a sphere, control click to create our sphere, then move our sphere up here like that. In the collision tab here, I can press, or sorry, not the collision tab, in the rigid body tab here, I will press RBD object, select my sphere, and press enter. If we just go now to the Autodop network, press L to reorder the nodes, we have here our sphere object, and this is an RBD packed object. If we just press play, our sphere will interact with the water, and what this did is just created our sphere object. We have just created the sphere from the shelf tool, and when we selected this sphere and converted it into an RBD object, it just converted our sphere and imported it here into this RBD object, and the RBD object falls with the gravity effect and collides with our flip solver. Here we are merging this RBD packed object with this merge node, which is a collide relationship, and we will talk about this in detail in the next video when we just create this simulation from scratch. So this makes our sphere collide with this flip object, which contains our fluid data, and this causes our sphere to collide with our simulation like that. Okay, as you can see here, our frames are stored in the memory. So this is convenient here with the DOP network flow, because the DOP network flow simulates the data and the changes that happen at the simulation each frame. So you need to solve those frames successively, and if you just press at frame 113, Houdini will just simulate the first frames first. Okay, then it will just compute the frame 113. Okay, so to just scroll here through this bar here, Houdini needs to store those frames in the memory, and we can control this here in the AutoDub network. In the cache simulation, we can cache our simulation, or there is another option to control this here. I think in this flip tank, in the creation node here, we have allow caching. So I've created just an interesting sphere interacting with the water. In the next video, we are just going to create this simulation from scratch in order for you to understand these nodes. Thank you for watching this video. Wait for me in the next video. Thank you.